That's no. Two-letter word. No.
Oh my.
Not an option to just throw it.
I don't think anyone has scored. This might be the worst game of Ultimate.
Perspective. We all have it. Our take on life. The way we filter the world around us. And not just the world, but people. Relationships. Family. This lens affects how we see ourselves. Others. Even God. And when it comes to relationships, what you see is what you get.
All right. This is the last session in the What You See is What You Get series. And I hope you guys have got a lot from this series. We've been kind of focusing in on what Jesus says is the greatest commandment. And if you're not familiar with that, or maybe you've missed the past couple of weeks, the verse is, love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, with all of your mind and strength. And then it says the second is this, to love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. And if Jesus said this, remember the people came up to Jesus and they said, Jesus, what is the most important thing that we need to know? Out of everything you've taught us, what's the one thing that we need to really focus on in our lives? And he told them this verse. And I think if Jesus tells us this verse as to what we should do with our life, I think that we should take it seriously. Because the first week, just do a little recap right now. The first week we talked about seeing God for who He really is. Okay, we talked about some of us view God and our relationship with God as maybe He's a strict teacher, or a strict principal, or He's an absent parent, or He's a vending machine. It's a vending machine kind of relationship where you go to God only when you need something. And so we talked about God and looking in the Bible for the actual answer. When you want to see God through the right lens, you see God as a loving Father. He's a God who loves you so much that He sent His Son Jesus to die on the cross for you. That's how much love that He has for us. And last week we talked about loving ourselves. And we said to look through the right lens and to love ourselves and to be viewed as one of God's children. Okay, I told the story where I played basketball and I didn't play really well. But my parents were in the stands and they were saying, that's my son. They were proud of me for being on the basketball court. And God is in heaven right now and He's pointing down and He's saying, that's my son, that's my daughter, and He's proud of us and He loves us no matter what. So you may not have a father figure here on earth, but know there's a God up in heaven who loves you and is passionately pursuing you. And this week we're going to talk about the last thing in these two verses, and that's to love others. To love other people. And this is where it may get tricky, because we say we don't really like God or we don't really see God in the right way because sometimes we don't understand Him and we don't look through the right lens. But for people, we know people. We know them really well. And that may be a tricky part because unlike God, we know how people react to things. We know how to have somewhat of a relationship with other people. And you see, Jesus is telling us to love others, but that creates a problem because when He tells us to love others, it's complicated because people aren't just categorized in two categories, I guess. People we like and people we don't like. See, there are subcategories. And I think a lot of you guys will understand what I'm talking about when I give some examples. But there are subcategories under the people that we like. And we'll take Facebook, for instance. We're on Facebook. A lot of us are on Facebook. And if you're not, then, I don't know, you need to catch up with the times. But just kidding. Your parents probably say no, and I respect that. But on Facebook, we have friends. Okay, and there's one friend in particular that I want to use as an example tonight. And it's the friend that you don't really know anything about, but you've heard of them. And so you accept their friend request. Okay, you don't know them. Okay, you've never talked face to face, but you've heard of them, and so you accept their friend request. And it's a friendship that means really nothing. You know, it means nothing to you, but it just adds a number to your Facebook. And they're the type of people that if they put on a status, you know, I'm really struggling with homework, or I hate homework, or I hate this class because it's really hard, you know, I don't understand the homework for tonight, you know, can anyone help me? They're the people that we look at their status and we say, okay, keep scrolling. You know, we don't help them. They're those people that they're not our friends, but we just like to keep up with them and creep their lives. Which, to be honest with you, before I came here, I creeped a lot of your Facebook. And I'm still here, so that's good, I guess. Don't lie. I don't want any of you to lie. You stalked me. You looked at my Facebook page.
We were told not to stalk you. We were told not to stalk you. Exactly.
And that's not
No, that was
secret.
before he came.
Anyway, I have a Twitter, I have Instagram, Facebook, and I'm sure some of you have looked at all of those. Okay? Twitter's awesome. Future hashtag awesome. We're not going to do that again. Anyway, we talked about Facebook friend, and we're talking about a casual friend as well. They're those people that we see at school, or they're on our team, and if they drop their books or something in the hallway, they're the kind of people that we would stop and help them with their books and pick them up. But if we're in their class, or if we're on their team and we change classes, or we lead the team, we're never going to hang out with them again. They're those kind of friends, the casual friend. And then you have the people that are the friends that you connect with. Okay? They're the people that you tell everything to. For guys, this is the guy you go up to and then you'll hug them. Okay? You'll give them a bro hug, all right? And you're not ashamed of it, okay? Because sometimes, like, man, don't hug me. You know, I don't hug other guys, you know, that type of thing. But man, the people that you really are connected to, your best friends, you're not afraid to give them a hug. For girls, they're the people that you have to text. They're the people you have to text while you're on a date. Okay?
Guys, stay focused.
Stay focused here. They're for you girls, maybe for guys, I don't know. But girls, when you're on a date with someone, your best friends, the people you connect really well with, are the ones that you text by the end of that date, okay? You'll say, oh my gosh, he's holding my hand. Oh my gosh, he's putting his arm around. He just kissed my cheek. You know, they're the type of friends that you connect with really well. And those are the friends and these are the friends that I'm talking about that will wake up in the middle of the night to answer your phone call. Maybe 3 in the morning and you have an emergency, or you need to talk to someone, you call someone, and they answer the phone. Or they're the people that will stop playing Call of Duty to talk to you on the phone. No. I will finish my round. And then I will, no. But all of this may seem harmless to you, but I hope we can see tonight that in our relationships, we don't really mean for this to happen, where we're kind of stuck in the middle. We have like these concentric circles around us, which means, you know, we are in the middle and everything else revolves around us. All our friends and everything that we do revolves around us. And it's kind of like the sun. We're the sun, everyone else is a planet. And it revolves around us. And we want people to do things for us. And we don't do it on purpose sometimes, but that's how sometimes our relationships go. It's what they have to do. What is their purpose for them to help you? It's not really an authentic relationship. And so this is what makes Jesus' commandment a little trickier to deal with. Okay, when he says to love others, Jesus didn't tell us to love your best friend, you know, as you love yourself. You know, he didn't tell us to try to love our casual friends like you would have loved yourself. Jesus tells us to love your neighbor as yourself. Who is our neighbor? And this may get a little confusing because the people around Jesus back in the day when Jesus was preaching this to them, they had no idea. Like, who is he talking about? He keeps saying neighbor, but is that the person that lives next door? Is this the person that I see at school? Is this the person that, you know, is in my family? Who is Jesus talking about? And so Jesus did what he does best, and he told us a story. And we're going to have the scripture up for you on the screen. I'm going to read to you Luke chapter 10, verses 30 through 35. And it says in the beginning in verse 30, in reply, Jesus says, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. And so too, a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper. Look after him, he said, and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense you may have. You see here in the scripture there's a victim, then there are 3 other guys who see the victim. And those 3 other guys, one, the priest, who is supposed to be a religious figure, someone that is a do-gooder, someone that wants to really put themselves out there as I love God and I want to follow God. And so there was the priest, then there was the Levite, and if you're familiar with some Bible history, Levite is a tribe, one of 12 tribes that make up the Jewish nation. And they were responsible for kind of different and unique religious responsibilities. And so we had the priests, who are the religious people, and then the Levites, who are also religious, pass by. And then we have the Samaritan, who among the Jewish people, the Samaritans were highly disrespected. They were considered half-breeds because they were only half Jewish. And so the Jewish people did not like that, and they didn't look highly on them. And they even, at some points, they call the Jewish people call the Samaritans dogs. And that's a pretty low rank when Scripture says that. And so in Jesus' story, this is the guy who got it right, the Samaritan. The Samaritan got it right. You see, the priest and the Levite saw the victim, and they passed by him. You see, they said, that's not my problem. The priest was saying there's too much risk involved. I don't like this person, or we're not supposed to connect really well with the Samaritans, so I'm just going to pass him up. I don't get anything in return for helping him. And so they saw the man, the Levite and the priest saw the man as someone who could do nothing for them. And that is why they gave nothing in return. But see, the Samaritan, he saw more in this person who was lying on the road. He didn't see him as an inconvenience, rather he saw him as someone who needed some help. And so he stopped and he helped them. And I think if we waste our time on determining who is our neighbor and are only willing to see people for how they can benefit us, we will never seem to see these people as actual people. We'll see them as more of commodities. And so that's why it's important tonight to really focus in on loving our neighbor. Okay? Not something that you don't think that, man, I'm not going to be friends with them because they don't really offer much. They're not really that smart. They can't help me pass my test. These people are kind of, lame, and so I'm not going to hang out with them, because if I hang out with them, everyone else will see me hanging out with them, and then I'll kind of go down on the totem pole. And so you don't do these relationships, and you don't have these relationships with people, and you don't love other people because you don't get anything out of it. And I think we need to change that mindset, because Jesus in Luke chapter 10 and verse 37, after he told this story about the unlikely neighbor, he says, go and do likewise. And so when we see people the way Jesus asks us to, our eyes are open to the world around us, and our perspective of relationships changes. And that's why I think it's important tonight, guys, for us to realize that. What if you started looking for the chance to be a neighbor instead of looking for excuses not to be one? What if you stop seeing others for what they could cost you and dismissing them because they don't have anything to offer you, and instead start acting like you could be exactly what this person needs? And so maybe on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, you see someone post a status and they're not having a good day. They're having a pretty rough day. Maybe instead of just kind of passing it by and keep scrolling, you stop and you text that person, or you call that person, and you offer them some type of encouragement. Or maybe you know someone whose parent just lost their job, or maybe they don't have a well-paying job. And so maybe you feel like, I need to go, I need to pay for this person to go to the movies. I need to pay for this person's lunch, or I need to offer to help them with any financial need. And you may not have a lot, but it's all about making some type of sacrifice because you love someone else. And isn't that the truth? Jesus sacrificed his body for us because he loved us so much. And I think that's important to understand. And so stop asking, what can people do for me? And start asking, what can I do for people? Because if we think that, our perspective will change. And the things around us will change. Yeah, we're going to have to sacrifice a little bit for the good of others. But that's okay. Because you may say, man, I don't want to go out of my way to help them. I'm doing something on Saturday. I don't want to talk to them or go hang out with them. Sometimes it takes sacrificing your schedule, your time, your energy to help someone that needs it. Or whether it's sitting with them and encouraging them and being there for them. So that's why it's important. And in closing, I just want to say, we can't get it right. We can't get these things right. We can't see God for who he really is. We can't see who we are. We can't see how we should love others if we don't look through the right lens. Because you see, if we don't do that, then our lives are going to be going down a wrong path. And we're doing things for ourselves. We're not looking to God for answers. We're not encouraging other people. And we're doing things that please us and no one else. So when it comes to relationships, your relationship with God, seeing God for who he really is, a loving Father. And when it comes to relationships with other people, and sacrificing some things, maybe your schedule, to encourage someone else. Or maybe it's how you love yourself and be reminded that you are a child of God. I just want to let you guys know that what you see is indeed what you get.